Mr. Mahfouz Siddiq. He is the Chief Communications Officer at Bkash, who has returned to Bangladesh after a decade and a half in global media. So he has come back after a career spanning a decade and a half, BBC World News in London, where he held roles of news editor, foreign correspondent, presenter, and producer on Emmy and BAFTA award-winning programs. The Royal Society of Arts made him a fellow in 2018. He has taught global media at the universities of SOAS, Utrecht, and chaired conference panels at Harvard and Yale. In the past, he's been an advisor to several FCDO and USAID-funded projects. He holds a postgraduate degree in public policy from King's College London. Mahfouz's LinkedIn bio has only one word: storyteller. So Mahfouz is going to tell us some stories today. Next, we have Miss Pushpita Nepal. Miss Pushpita is an HR professional, and she has been in this field for 20 years. A national of Nepal, she has been with UNICEF for 3+ years, and in Bangladesh for over a year. She's actively involved in well-being and mental health initiatives in the organization, and firmly believes there is no health without mental health and well-being. And next, we have Mr., or should I say Rear Admiral Lokman Rahman, who is presently working as the lead of the supply chain and logistics unit, a food consumer brand, ACI. This is his second career. He recently retired from the Navy, from the Bangladesh Navy, in 2022 after a long, illustrious naval career of 39 years. His last appointment was Assistant Chief of Naval Staff, Logistics. He is the former president of Bangladesh Navy Sports Control Board and the former chairman of Bangladesh Institute of Maritime Research and Development. He is an avid long-distance runner and cyclist, and a very keen player of tennis. Okay. And next we have Sharia Rahman, an experienced human resources professional with more than 11 years of experience in Bangladesh, working in telco, IT, development sector, healthcare, and retail industry. Sharia is currently working at Apex Footwear as the head of organizational development, learning, and talent acquisition. So, we have a really diverse panel and different perspectives on wellness, I assume. So my first question is, when we talk about wellness, what exactly are we talking about? You know, what are the different dimensions of wellness, particularly in the workplace? So I'm just going to pass the mic, and feel free, to share from your own experience.
Yes. So for wellness, the most important thing is to be comfortable, happy, on working. If you talk about the workplace, being psychologically safe, feeling productive, feeling appreciated, knowing that you're contributing meaningfully. I think that is what a wellness from a staff perspective. If you talk about the organization perspective, I think it would be like having proper policy, procedures in place, being committed, and being well aware of what are the needs of the employees. I think that would.
Well, wellness is a huge thing. Actually, to me, it's a complete package. Yeah. So, if we talk about the wellness, it's the physical wellness, it's the mental wellness, it's the wellness in your workplace, it's the wellness in your family life. So, it's a huge thing, in fact, to me. So, how I see the wellness, if I talk about the wellness in my personal life or we are talking about workplace. So my workplace is interwoven with my personal life also. So what I believe is that the wellness starts right at from my home. When in the morning I get up, I prepare for my office. Because a simple example is that if I am I'm not disciplined in getting up in the morning and preparing myself to go to my office right in time, I'll be late. Once I am late, whole thing goes messed up. So, and in the workplace, of course, the madam said, the wellness, it's, I believe that it starts from your work table, how you are doing the job and how you are finishing, how you are interacting with your peers, subordinates, and then at the end of the day, and also how you start leaving for your house. So to me, definitely we'll be discussing many more aspects of the wellness at the workplace.
গত 1 ঘন্টায় লাস্ট 60 মিনিটসে আপনারা কে কে এক গ্লাস পানি খেয়েছেন? যদি খেয়ে থাকেন এক হাত তুলবেন। হ্যাঁ, সো ইউ সি অলরেডি একটা ইজি টেস্ট হয়ে গেল। সো আমরাও কিন্তু অফিসে 12 ঘন্টা 10 ঘন্টা 8 ঘন্টা কাজ করি, অনেক হেভি ডিউটিস করি। এটা কিন্তু খুব কমন একটা প্র্যাকটিস, বাট উই টেন্ড টু ফরগেট অ্যান্ড উই থিঙ্ক এটা কোনো ব্যাপার না, বাট এটা যে কত বড় যখন আমরা সাফার করি তখনই বুঝতে পারি। ঠিক আছে, থ্যাংক ইউ ফর গিভিং মি দ্য মাইক।
I would say, I mean, obviously, after it's been well defined, as you can see, it's something that has clear understanding now what wellness at workplace means. To me, I think wellness at workplace. I come from a background of journalism, and I've looked at different places how economies have evolved. I think for a place like Bangladesh, we have to become more sensitized to the fact that as we are growing as an economy, workplace pressures have reached a level, because I returned to Bangladesh after many years, and I'm noticing that the lines between work, personal and life have blurred to a level where I think people often forget where they have to draw a line to make their life, just like Shahriar was saying, that just to find that space within your daily work life, to find space and time for yourself. I mean, at Bikash, we have made a lot of effort to give people opportunities, you know, the common things like having a gym, having other facilities, but also to make aware, and individually people have to be aware to do that. I think the one last point I'd say is, I think the wellness also comes from the fact that within workplaces we have to be sensitized with our co-workers. I think we have to be, we've reached a point where our offices are our second family, they're our second home, and unless we can take care the pastoral nature when work has become organized in today's world, whereas we used to be farmers, we used to be craftspeople where just 4 people would work together. I would know when someone hasn't had breakfast in the morning. Nowadays, we work in these kind of disparate spaces where we don't really know the person next to us. So I think that one thing I think we should start looking into, having care and having that sensitivity towards our colleagues. I think that would take us a long way. Being careful about your own boundaries, but also being sensitive to the people around you.
Thank you for that. So just listening to what you just shared, Mahfouz, it seems like part of what you're saying is that wellness and community are inextricably connected, right? So how can we cultivate that in the workplace so that people feel that there is space for wellness and that is held by the community, protecting them, being there for them, and not just in terms of co-workers, but also, in terms of the institution.
I mean, just sort of carrying on from what you pointed out, that if my coworker or the community that I live and work with, if they are not at a good place, if they are having mental anguish from anything, from their daily life, from family life, or the work pressure, it never stays contained. The moment I realize that in a community, if my colleague Pushpita is having a bad day, we work together. And if she is having a bad day, it will affect me. The moment I come to that realization, I think that as a package, it's a holistic thing. I think it changes. I just want to give a little example, a story essentially. A big part of my returning home after a decade and a half was I wanted to be close to my parents. They were getting old. I always was worried, could I be around them? And I came back about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Sadly, my father passed away a few months back. A part of me always felt cheated in my mind that I couldn't do anything. I should have been here. Maybe I wanted to spend a bit more time. I came back to work within a week or 5 days. And it was a very tense moment. We were working on a lot of projects, as you can understand. It was my CEO, the founder of Bikash, Kamal Bhai, he said, not once, I think every 2-3 weeks, he said, "You're an autopilot, Mahfuz. You need to take a break." Because I was working in a way, actually I was escaping. I didn't want to think about all those things. Because he prompted me a second time, I took a long break. I just came back I went to see my family, my sisters and others. I feel whole in some ways. That simple fact that, as professionals, we often I don't have time to take breaks often, but to tell me that now is a time, I think you need to go. I think that is a community, as you said, and it's a kind of overall well-being awareness is something that needs to be cultivated. It's a practice. It doesn't come by itself.
Thank you so much for putting things into perspective. Well-being actually starts with you. You are the person who knows most about you, your health, your mind, and your well-being, your mental health. So I think it's important for everyone to know this is my limit, or this is how far I can stretch, and this is where I have to say no. So it's also about knowing your personal boundaries. I think we are very much in our culture, including mine. In our culture, we are raised in a way where we are not willing to say no. We don't want to say no. We think that we'll be perceived differently, and we do not set our boundaries well. We can do that's possible. That does not make us a bad person. That's possible. You just have to say in a nice way, in a way that you can convince the other person that you're not incapable, you're not being rude, but you are just trying to be rational and you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Right? I think this is very, very important.
If I am not wrong, it was just how you communicate the wellness. Okay. Communication is the most important tools, in fact, in our life, because if we can't communicate, then you cannot actually make the interaction with anyone. So how I see, for example, if wellness is to be communicated in the workplace, then I think it's a both way. Is the employer and the employee both has got the equal responsibility to culture the wellness into the office or institution. The employer has got certain responsibility to ensure. For example, in ACI, we have the office spaces which is full of lights and sounds and shades and grains. So in our offices, hardly you find a dark space. So that's give the initial boost to your early morning coming into the office. When you sit in the desk, you see a lot of lights, and I believe every offices now are going into this thing. So this is one important aspect. And you open your curtain and you see grain or you see the lights, so you are energized automatically. And then also the some other things we'll be talking about. For example, we are the followers of different religion. So in office space, maybe I don't practice, but someone practices. But I got to keep a space for it. And all the offices are now doing this thing. Have a small space. For my case, I have a room, so I do it in my office. But for others, it is not. And ACI again, to bring the wellness into all the employees, what they do, we eat in a cafeteria where there is no boundaries. Everybody finishes, and then at the time of lunch, we come and we sit together, 10-20 people together, as per the capacity. Then we eat together, same menu, and then all our corporate houses nowadays doing this thing. So it's a huge thing, I think, to bring the wellness. And then again, if I talk individually, I will cite my example. When my office at the 4th floor, so I never use the lift. While I go into the office early in the morning, I try to climb the staircases, and then with a ritual. In our Islam, it is said that when you are climbing, you must say Allahu Akbar. When you are coming down by the lift or stairs, you must say Subhanallah. So what I do, I complete my ritual, I complete my physical exercise also. So I keep climbing, and then I keep reciting that thing. And then get into the office. First I see the face of the receptionist and my security guard. Then always I try to smile to them. Hey, good morning, Jebun, how are you? Mr. Wang, how are you? So, that's give you the feeling. So, of your first initial thrust of the wellness of the day. Then I keep my briefcase and other things, gadgets in my table. I go out, have a round of the office. Hi, hello. It takes 5 minutes. So there are many things we should actually practice, and we'll come later on. I believe that there are some benefits also which are given from the employer. And it's, as Mr. Mahfouz said, that it's a huge thing. The employee benefit and then family benefit at times, and they have set a gym there to exercise. In our office floor, we have a table tennis table folded, and at the once break time, people start playing the table tennis. So that's why another kind of thing. So there are a lot of ways to boost up the wellness, and as I said, that it's a total complete package. It's a mental feeling. Some are tangible, some are not tangible. Some you can see, some you cannot see. Some in kind, some not in kind. You must give a feeling to your employee that yes, okay, I am there to look after you. And then also some tangible thing, okay, make your environment good for your employees. Make them comfortable, and then make a friendly environment. Boss is not always just say, okay, do this, do that. That is a way to do it. So I think if we keep talking, there are a lot of things to talk about, and I am sure that the moderator will allow us next on step by step to get into those things. Thank you.
থ্যাংক ইউ ওয়ান্স অ্যাগেন। আমার যেটা মনে হয়, মাহফুজ ভাই বললেন সেন্সিটাইজেশনের কথা, পরে আপা বললেন যে সেইং নো, বাট আমার কাছে যেটা মনে হয় যে অ্যাকসেপ্টিং দ্য ফ্যাক্টরস। কারণ কিছু সোসাইটাল ট্যাবিউ আছে। ফর ইনস্টেন্স, আমরা ছেলেরা কখনোই এটা মানতে রাজি না যে উই নিড হেল্প। আমরা ছেলেরা কখনোই এটা বলবো না যে আমিও কাঁদতে চাই, চোখে পানি চলে আসলো সেটা আমাকে ঢেকে ফেলতে হবে, কারণ আমাকে শেখানোই হয়েছে এভাবে, ছেলেরা তো কাঁদে না। সো এই যে ফ্যাক্টরসগুলো, এই যে অ্যাকসেপ্টিং, এই আসলে এগুলো এত সহজে হয় না। সেন্সিটাইজেশন আমাদের দরকার আছে, অ্যাওয়ারনেস সেশন আছে। কিন্তু আমি যেটা দেখেছি আমার এক্সপিরিয়েন্সে, আমরা ডিফারেন্ট অর্গানাইজেশনে ডিফারেন্ট সেশনস করি ফ্রি অফ কস্ট, কেউ আসে না, কেউ রেজিস্টার করে না। পরে আমরা যেটা করি, আমরা জোর করি আসতে হবে, বাধ্য করা যে 1 ঘন্টা ব্রেক নিতে হবে। সুন্দর সুন্দর কর্নার করি, ভাই যেটা বললেন, খেলার জায়গা হয়, অনেক আলো দিয়েছি, সুন্দর ওয়াশরুম দিয়েছি, সাপোর্ট দিয়েছি, কেউ ইউজ করে না, ওগুলো আনইউজ থেকে যায়। এখানে এমপ্লয়ারদের যেটা করা উচিত, অ্যাক্টিভলি ফোর্স করা উচিত, কারণ এই ফ্যাক্টরসগুলোর ওই কোনো ট্যানজিবল, যেটা বললেন ট্যানজিবল আউটপুট বা রেজাল্ট ROI দেখা যায় না। এটা যখন একবার ক্ষতি হয়ে যায় লং রানে, তখন ইউ স্টার্ট আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডিং যে কী ক্ষতিটা হয়ে গেছে। হ্যান্স অ্যাজ আ রেসপন্সিবল এমপ্লয়ার হোয়াট উই শুড ডু, মানে আমি যেহেতু HR, আমি এটা চেষ্টা করি করার। আমি রিকোয়েস্ট করবো অন্য HR যদি এখানে কেউ থাকেন, আপনারাও করবেন, ফোর্সফুলি, not disrespectfully, forcefully ask them to take part in this session, arrange these sessions. তারা যেন আসে, তারা যেন বোঝে এই স্পেসটাকে তৈরি করে দেওয়া সো দ্যাট দে ক্যান টক, দে ক্যান ওপেন আপ, দে ফিল সেফ, দে ফিল ইনক্লুডেড. সো হোয়াট এভার সর্ট ইট ইজ, it can be a mental issue, it can be a physical issue, what sort of work pressure issue, any sort of issue. আমাদের আসলে আজকাল সমস্যাটা ওখানেই হয়েছে যে আসলে কথা বলার জায়গাটাই নাই. ওয়েলনেস ওয়েলবিং তখন শুরু হবে যখন আপনি মুখ খুলে কথা বলবেন যে আপনি আসলে কী নিয়ে সমস্যা ফেস করছেন. দেন ইউ গেট হেল্প. ফার্স্ট ইউ হ্যাভ টু ওপেন আপ and speak up. If you don't, we cannot help you out. Thank you.
আই ওয়ান্ট টু এড এ ওয়ার্ড, বাংলায় বলি, সেটা হলো আসলে আমাদের সবাইকে এক্সপ্লোর করার সুযোগটা দিতে হবে. ভাই যেটা বললেন যে গট টু ফোর্স দি পিপল, ইয়েস ইউ ক্যান ডু ইট, গিভ দেম এ ফিলিং অ্যান্ড দেন টেস্ট দেম. And this always, you know, they do not, most of us do not know our limits, how far we can go. So let's test us. আমাদেরকে যদি বলে যে ওকে তুমি একটু দৌড়ান শুরু করো, আই এম শিওর আজকে যারা 5 কিলোমিটার দৌড়িয়েছে অনেকে হয়তো ফার্স্ট টাইম, তারা হয়তো ভেবেছে আমি ফিনিশ করতে পারবো না, বাট আই এম প্রিটি শিওর একজন দেখলাম একটু আগে যাচ্ছে. সো দ্যাট মিনস যে হি ডিড নট গিভ আপ. সো আই এম শিওর যে টুমরো মর্নিং he will get up with a new realization. Oh yes, I can do it. I finished 5 kilometers, so now let's start with. So that's a feeling, as he said, fully agreed. At times you got to force your workforce. Yes, do it, you can do it. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a very interesting conversation. I like the direction that this is going in. So a few of the themes that are coming up. Maybe we can say creating a different standard in the office, right? And making people feel safe to be able to participate in those kinds of activities and open up. Because there is stigma, right? And I think we also have to acknowledge that, I mean, we live in a capitalist world, right? And, you know, in an organization, we are contributing our labor for a wage so that we can live, and that, you know, there is a sense of, well, if I try to set boundaries, or if I, you know, tell my employer that I'm not doing very well, or that I need help, then I'm scared about my job, right? And the reality here is that in Bangladesh, you know, people have a lot of insecurity about their jobs. We're sitting here having this conversation at a time when, you know, our garments factory workers are protesting for a living wage, right? So, you know, now it's been increased, I think 56% from 8,000 to 12,500, but they're saying that's not enough. That's not enough for us. And, you know, I think there's a lot of evidence that that's right. So, you know, it's not, so if we want to now say to them, well, we care about you, you know, we care about your well-being, we're going to put some good lighting in the office. We're going to, you know, have some sessions on mental wellness, but we're not paying people a living wage. Do we really care about them? I think, you know, that's also a part of the conversation. So maybe what we can talk about is the cultural dimension, you know, of wellness as well, right? So I mentioned, you know, I was saying we live in the capitalist world, participating in capitalist society. We, you know, in this part of the world, it's also a very hierarchical, right? Where you've got, you know, the owner classes, you know, the people calling the shots, and then you have a lot of people who are very poor and, you know, not that well educated, and they just don't feel that they have bargaining power, right, to ask for what they want. So how do we change these structural issues so that we're really, you know, we're not doing surface, we're not taking you know, surface measures to treat the symptoms, but we're actually, you know, getting to the root of what well-being is about, you know, and ensuring that people have dignity in the work that they do. Any thoughts on that? Okay.
Thank you. That's a very interesting point, and I will tell you this much, that these are some of the sort of very obvious but often hidden aspects of workplaces as well as organized labor, as in that's what we are. We're talking about workplaces. That comes into view when you suddenly move from place to place. Like, I'll be very honest, the fact that there is someone in my office just to bring tea, just that simple fact, is something that initially, I mean, I'm from this place, but it jarred in the beginning and for a long time. because you go to the tea counter and you make your tea and come back. But that individual also has their role in it, that they consider that as their role. But how do you sensitize your workplace to be careful as not to desensitize that individual's role within that space? We went on a retreat, my team, and I was very careful that the people call them in various names, the T-boy, the office assistant, that we all go together on a retreat. The retreat is an expensive process. It comes from the budget. We pool budgets together. We went together because that person is part of my team all the time. And without that person, we don't function. Just to sort of take on a point that Charrier mentioned and the Rear Admiral also mentioned, I think in addition, I think forcing as a term, I mean, you're the expert on this, but gamifying the job experience, where, for example, last month we had 2 days of, lo and behold, yoga, because it was a yoga month, a wellness month. And what we did was, we came to the realization, just like you did, people don't want to do any of these things. So our thing was, you sitting at your desk, what are the most common things that you can do while you're sitting at your desk? Anything from moving your feet like this or your head, and also almost like creating these ambassadors or champions who will go around the office floor and say, hey, you want to do one of those? Just by moving your hand or your feet, that kind of thing. I think building it into your workplace culture and the way might be the more sustainable way, because look, I mean, I worked 14 years at the BBC where health and safety was the buzzword. It was all a box ticking exercise. So essentially we followed a lot of health and safety. I'll tell you this much. So I remember in 2016, 2017, I hadn't realized, but suddenly, so I worked on the news desk. I was a news editor. And we had people coming over and saying, Mahfouz, David, and whoever else was there, I think you need to come and have a session with us. I was like, why? You've been looking at material that's very traumatic. So ISIS was happening. I was the news editor. My job was to see the gruesome videos for the first time, because I made the call whether it would go on air or not. But I didn't think like that because it was just part of my job. But it's true, it was very disturbing, and I carried that image in my head to back home. Yeah. So someone did that. I think on this side, I would say that just from my experiences, again, stories, look, it's a very male-dominated, patriarchal system. So I have colleagues, female colleagues, who go through various layers of life decisions that actually I often don't know. They don't feel comfortable talking about it with me, but yet I am their line manager. So I remember one of my colleagues, she was just looking anemic, and it took me 1 or 2 weeks just to ask several times, so you're okay? And then for miscarriage, and this is a new thing that I'm very proud of to say, for miscarriages you get additional, you don't have to declare it in that way, you get medical benefits. For adoption, you can get specific, people have various kinds of issues, so a lot of people now adopt children, and that is still a process. You are becoming a parent, and the process of going through that. I think why I bring these up is because a cultural change, cultural shift, we as a society are shifting, or we lived like that, we never talked about it. It happened, it's happening everywhere, I think just having a sanitary napkin, a vending machine in our washrooms is not good enough. There are far more deeper sensitized issues. And I also echo what he said, that men also need to have their spaces to talk about crisis, You know, careers have become such a suffocating space. I talk to some of my younger colleagues. They always feel this pressure that I have to do good. Everybody's watching me. I'm vulnerable, but I can talk about it. So I think these are definitely, as you said, you know, the kind of cultural, structural shifts that need to be gamified or built into the system in order for them to work. Because we can have a single session annually. I have been through lots of box ticking health and safety exercises. They don't work. So yeah, that's my view on it.
Thank you so much for such good insights. One of the most important thing is also about organizing culture, the values there, the respect, the relationship within there, what kind of relationship you have within your teammates as well as with your management, or you know, is there an open door policy? Are you able to speak up? You know, if you have a problem, if are you able to reach out, voice it? We all are human. We have our personal issues. We have to go to school sometimes for our children. We need time off here and there. We have other bigger traumas, for example, in family arrangements. So there should be a space, as you said, in your case, the colleague could not come up and say or share. So I think as the leaders in the organization, it's important that such environment is created and reiterated every now and then. Awareness is raised so that people can speak up, voice it out, and also put effort, make a demand, and this is at least needed. And also for the management, the leadership, to recognize that this could be the case. You know, as you said, so there are some issues that men probably will not be aware about, but you know, involving everyone, getting inputs from everyone may be required, because then you get to know other perspective as well that will help make the workplace a better place to work in.
It's a huge issue, in fact. So I take the word from Mahfuz Bhai and Pushpita that Mahfuz Bhai said that, okay, there is a barrier of communication and the respect. So, and the Pushpita said we got to make them allowed to talk. So if I take the respect is mutual. What I believe is that it's not that only my line manager, I got to respect him only or her only. I got to also give the due respect even to my cleaner. I got to have the respect for his or her job, because she or he makes my day. Early morning they come, they mop the floor, they keep my table and desk ready, they put a bottle of water there. So they are making my day at the beginning. So, you know, so I should have that much of respect. He or she is also my team. A mere cleaner is my team. So that respect has to come. In Bengali, you know, it's a unique language in the world, I say. I beg apology to Pushpita talking in Bengali, but she understands as she said me. Banglate English একটা ওয়ার্ড আছে তুমি, ইউ, বড়কেও তুমি বলা হয়, ছোটকেও তুমি বলা হয়, সবাইকে তুমি বলা হয়। বাট লুক এট বাংলা, বাংলা হ্যাজ গট তুমি, তুই, আপনি। আপনি বলি আমরা আননোন কাউকে, বড় কাউকে। আমরা তুমি বলি কাকে? বাবা মাকে। এখন কালচার হলো, আগে আমরা আপনি বলতাম, আমার মাকে আমি এখন আপনি বলি, বাট আমার বাচ্চা আমাকে তুমি বলে। সো দেন আমি আমার ফ্রেন্ডকে বলি তুই, ভেরি ক্লোজ টু মাই হার্ট। দেন আমি আমার হোয়াট ইট ইজ কল্ড, যে আমি আমার বোনকে বলি তুই, ভাইকে বলি তুই, আমার বাবা আমাকে বলে তুই। বাট দি মোমেন্ট ইউ অ্যাপ্লাই ইট ইন এ রং ওয়ে, দেন ইট ক্লাসিফাইজ দি থিং। আমি একজন রিক্সাওয়ালাকে দেখলাম, এই যাবি তুই? ইন মাই লাইফ আই কুড নেভার সে ইট। ইফ আই স এ রিক্সা পুলার হু ইজ ইয়াং, ভাই তুমি যাবা? সিনিয়র হলে, বুড়া হলে আমি বলি আপনি যাবেন? I play tennis regularly. There is ball boy. I see a new commissioned officer who is 22 years old, a boy. She ground she bole ball de. And being admiral after serving 39 years, I could never say this thing. If I see someone is telling this, I say, come on, come here. What is this? Give respect to, he is selling his labor. So that respect has to come. And then I got to allow my peers to talk to me. being a line manager, being a director, being a lead, I must allow everyone to talk to my ears. I will take the right one which actually suits the situation, but I should not stop the flow of information. That has to be allowed. I should not give a feeling to my juniors, oh, you are not allowed to talk, shit, go. Because the great ideas comes even from a very lower, ranked stuff. So you got to allow it. And then there are lot to talk. আমি একটা দিয়ে শেষ করবো, সেটা হলো যেমন মাহফুজ ভাই বলেছেন, I should allow যে okay, this you don't need to go to the gym, go to his table or her table, come on, stand up, do this exercise. So I will show you the exercise, as I am a sportsman, that standing on the floor in your place in front of your desk, I will show you one position where you can have 4 exercises, and if you can do it for 3 minutes, 5 minutes each, 4 you can expend your 20 minutes. So if I am allowed to show it, madam, yeah, okay. So
Demonstration. Okay. Okay. Look in the direction of the. We want to get this on camera, so perhaps you can stand a little bit more to this side.
So
Okay.
you stand in this position. Then you start with a very simple hand exercise, free hand exercise, like this. Okay. So from here you do it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It should be straight. Now you're stretching it. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? Like this.
Okay, how many times?
It's up to you.
Okay.
And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I do it 10 times. And then 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 4. Like this. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We see 4 position, 5 position in one single standing. And there are many things like this.
Hey.
So you see,
Yes.
create an environment.
Uh-huh.
To walk.
Yeah.
I always say, what exercise you need morning, you need evening. No, it's bullshit. Even after finishing your lunch at around 1 o'clock, I saw the German lady, they are going for basketball. They are going for basketball in the mission. We Bengalis take our lunch and then we nap and German lady, they are changing into shorts and going for basketball in the sun. So we got to come out of this thing. That you need a gym, you need a space. No, get up from your chair, stand there, do the exercise. There are 4 exercises, 5 minutes, 20 minutes gone. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Served also as somebody of Bangladeshi origin who's like lived abroad and then moved back to Bangladesh is, there's kind of a class thing, right? So if you're kind of upper middle class, right, then or middle class, moving, we don't move. I remember once when I was working in Chittagong at a university, and I would walk to work, and my foreign colleagues would walk to work. One of my Bangladeshi colleagues said, "Only normal people walk." So that kind of thing, that kind of perspective, that attitude is something that we have to, work on, and just, normalize the idea that, exercise and physical activity are for everybody. And so the fact that you do that in the office, do you do that with your team? You do? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Sharia.
থ্যাংক ইউ ফর দ্য ডেমনস্ট্রেশন। আচ্ছা, আমি আসলে একটু ডিফারেন্ট অ্যাঙ্গেল থেকে বলতে চাই, কারণ হচ্ছে এই যে প্র্যাকটিসেসগুলো, দে আর পিপল লাইক ইউ, পজিটিভ পিপল, এনলাইটেড পিপল, ঠিক আছে? এইরকম মানুষ আমাদের আসলে সোসাইটিতে কম, অর্গানাইজেশনগুলোতেও কম। সো এই প্র্যাকটিসেসগুলো কিছু অর্গানাইজেশন আমাদের এখানে করছে, কিছু করছে না। কারা করছে? কেউ হয়তো ডোনার ফান্ডেড অর্গানাইজেশন, রিকোয়ার ফ্রম দ্য ডোনার্স করছে, টিক বক্সেস এক্সারসাইজ হচ্ছে। হ্যাঁ, কারো হয়তো ইনভেস্টার আছে, ফান্ড ইনভেস্টার্স, ওদের ইনভেস্টমেন্টের ক্রাইটেরিয়া আছে, ওরা করছে। আই এম বিং রিয়েলি ডিরেক্ট আর কি, হ্যাঁ, নট সুগার কোটিং ইট। তারা করছে, বাকিরা করছে। আরও একটা গ্রুপ আছে, ফর ইনস্টেন্স ACI, ফর ইনস্টেন্স APEX, ফর ইনস্টেন্স Square. There are other enlightened people. যারা মালিকপক্ষ যদি বলি বা ওনার্স যদি বলি, ওনারা এটা এই যে ভ্যালিউজের কথা যেটা বললেন, কালচার যেটা বললেন, দে বিলিভ ইন দিস। সো ওনাদের অর্গানাইজেশনগুলোতে এটা দেখা যাচ্ছে। কিন্তু এই কটা অর্গানাইজেশন ছাড়া বাংলাদেশে কিন্তু আরও ডিফারেন্ট ইন্ডাস্ট্রিতে ডিফারেন্ট আরও হাজারটা অর্গানাইজেশন আছে ভ্যালিউ চেইনে, দেয়ার সাপ্লায়ার্স, দেয়ার ভেন্ডার্স, যারা কিন্তু এটা কিন্তু করে না। সো হোয়াট আই বিলিভ উই নিড টু ডু, উই নিড টু কাম টুগেদার। বাংলাদেশে যদি 1000টা কোম্পানি থাকে, টপ 10টা 15টা 30টা কোম্পানি কিন্তু প্র্যাকটিসগুলো করে, and incorporate that into their policies, and I believe they can push back with their vendors, with their suppliers, because if we commit together যে আমরা আমাদের অর্গানাইজেশনে করেছি, আমাদের সাথে যদি বিজনেস করতে হয় তোমাদেরকে, তোমাদের অর্গানাইজেশনও এই পলিসিসটা ইনকর্পোরেট করতে হবে, প্র্যাকটিসেসগুলো করতে হবে, নাহলে আমরা তোমাদের সাথে বিজনেস করবো না। I believe that will create a chain reaction, or else হ্যাঁ ভাইয়া আপনার মতো যারা আছে, they will be lucky, or else thank you
very much.
To each of our panelists. So if everybody could answer, that would be great. So my first question is, as a line manager, what is one thing that we can do to ensure wellness for our direct reports? And then the second thing is, as organized labor, as somebody who works for an organization, what is one thing that you advise people to do to guarantee their own wellness? So the first is, as a line manager, what is one thing that you can do to guarantee the wellness of the people that report to you? And the second one is, anybody working at an organization, what's one thing that you can do, whether it's drinking a glass of water, every hour. Okay? So just tips and tricks.
I think just on a straightforward level, as a line manager, talk to your coworkers, talk to your team, one-on-one, in groups. That's the only way. That helps. And in terms of organized labor, I would say that the breaking down as many partitions. That's the best way I can put it, okay? I mean, the open office concept came because of a reason. Because the more partitions there are, the more divisions there are. So organizational culture improves when there is transparency, and partitions prevent transparency. And that's the best way to do it.
Thank you. So, as a line manager, as already mentioned, it's important to give the space for your supervisees, your team to talk and reach out whenever there is an issue. As management, as leadership, to provide that space, be open in literal, true, meaningful way, have that open door policy. And as individuals, I would reiterate, be vulnerable. It's okay if you don't know anything. Reach out, set your boundaries. Thank you.
As a line manager, what I believe I will say in one sentence to the peers, I am there. It's a package of mine. I am there. In your good days, in your bad days, when you are sick, when you are well, when you feel bad, when you feel good. So I am there. I must be able to put into deep this word, I am there, into my peers. This is one. And from the organization, I want to inculcate into the staffs, officers and others, everyone, that believe in yourself. You are the greatest strength of yourself. You must rise. You must believe in you, explore yourself, know your limit. Because as long as if you do not know your limit, either you cannot contribute something, or again you cannot get also something. So you must test your limit. I will end up with a small story. When I was a cadet, then we were taken to Kaptai for long distance run. There where I learned the run 16 kilometer. So there is a BGB camp. We used to taken by our transport there and then drop and then come back to the after the hilly terrain of 16 kilometers to the naval base deep inside the forest.
Wonderful suggestions, and it was a beautiful discussion. It was really, really rich, and I think also, deep and personal. So, a big hand of applause to our panelists.